The human body is increasingly treated as a canvas, an engineered landscape sculpted by ideology, wealth, and the sheer fight to survive. In certain high-stakes political circles, that engineering takes a very specific, hyper-visible form. It's a look that critics and plastic surgeons have dubbed the Mar-a-Lago face, prominently worn by high-profile figures like Lara Trump. The aesthetic requires an exhausting daily regimen. It relies on a heavy combination of excessive facial fillers, rigid Botox, stark white dental veneers, and deep, unnatural fake tans. And it crosses gender lines. Politicians like Matt Gaetz display the exact same unnaturally smooth skin and severely arched eyebrows that define the trend. This aesthetic mirrors the highly polished grooming favored by pro-Trump media anchors. By adopting this specific mask, these figures signal their status within a cultural bubble that values curated artifice over natural reality, transforming the face itself into a badge of political alignment. The namesake of this aesthetic, Donald Trump's century-old Palm Beach resort, serves as the cultural and geographical epicenter for this specific brand of bodily modification. Let's look at the financial toll. Stacking the price of brow lifts, lip lifts, constant laser treatments, fillers, and veneers over a decade, the total out-of-pocket expense tops out between $200,000 and $300,000. That massive investment serves a deliberate ideological purpose. It is an expensive rejection of the natural aging process. By weaponizing modern medical technology, these individuals project an aura of total invincibility, treating biological reality as an obstacle they can buy their way out of. But while the political elite spend hundreds of thousands engineering their bodies to deny reality, millions of ordinary people are tethered to medical technology simply to survive it. At the absolute apex of power, body modification is a luxury status symbol. Step outside that bubble and you find a completely different relationship with medical engineering. One where the body is treated as a failing machine that demands constant, mandatory intervention. For a person living with type 1 diabetes, the pancreas produces no insulin. The body cannot naturally process glucose, meaning the patient must manually regulate their own bloodstream multiple times a day, every single day. There is no cosmetic menu here. Instead, there is a strict, unforgiving metric dashboard. A functional, healthy baseline requires keeping blood glucose levels within a razor-thin margin of 4 to 6 millimoles per liter. As the line plunges toward the 2.0 threshold, the patient enters a red danger zone, dismantling their grip on reality. Preventing this crash is expensive. Expanding the graph, continuous glucose monitors cost $1,300 out of pocket, plus $60 biweekly for sensors. These patients operate as what some call leaky cyborgs, human beings whose very survival depends on an expensive, involuntary tether to relentless biological data. When the established healthcare system ignores vulnerable bodies, marginalized communities are forced to construct their own survival infrastructure from the ground up. During the AIDS crisis of the 1980s and 90s, queer communities faced a medical establishment that largely ignored an active plague. It required militant activism. Protesters on the front lines fought for basic interventions, operating as their own emergency response network. The resistance they faced was systemic. Politicians passed harsh laws targeting their biology, including a strict immigration ban on HIV-positive individuals lasting over 2 decades. Whether tracking blood sugar metrics today or fighting a plague in the 90s, these groups endure a state of constant hypervigilance. They use data, bold community action, and whatever technology they can access, simply to prove their right to exist. We are left looking at 2 entirely different realities of the engineered human body. This split-screen comparison highlights the divide. On the left, a $300,000 voluntary cosmetic mask. On the right, a $1,300 digital monitor for basic metabolic function. This hierarchy transforms technology into a visible class map, separating biological survival from the projection of power. There is an immense gap between the wealthy elites who purchase an aura of absolute invincibility and the chronically ill who experience relentless physical and financial exhaustion just fighting their own biology. This is where class privilege manifests most clearly. It is the distance between using medical engineering as a mandatory life support and using it as a purely voluntary choice.